Hey people, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and in this case talking about communications and gathering information when there's a serious large-scale disaster. Now this topic came to mind because of one of the videos from the great Paul Harrell. I'm glad to see that he's still making content. He had a wonderful couple videos, a short format one and a longer one, showing bug-out bags and 72-hour kits or 3 days kits. Now, he readily admits himself that he's no expert in terms of radio and this sort of stuff, but he did mention something that, you probably know, the idea of when cell phones go down, when there's no, whatever reason, the cell phone towers are no longer working, they run out of fuel, there's a large scale event, maybe a solar flare or something else that basically affects internet and cell phone. How is it that you learn what's happening around you? Well, of course, good old radio. And he did mention that FM radio, and for those of you that don't know much about this, FM, AM, FM has a more clear sound. AM is a little bit longer reaching, but the sound is not really that good. It used to be that FM was the one you use for music, right? Because it was a much better sound. These days it's kind of like anything goes, but that was the classic way, at least back in the day. But yeah, you probably know of FM and AM radio. Paul mentioned that AM has a longer reach, so it could be much further distances away that you're getting information. He did not mention something that I think it would be nice to keep in mind, which is shortwave, right? Or what we sometimes call world radio, shortwave radio. Basically the same thing, but shortwave is way beyond what AM can do. AM radio, yes, a little bit further away. Shortwave, you're talking about literally listening what's happening on the other side of the planet, because the signal just spreads through the atmosphere of the planet. It is a little bit more engaging in terms of it's really not all that clear. You need to have an understanding how, with better, nice, clear atmospheric conditions, especially at night would be the time in which you get better reception with shortwave. How the antenna, if you have a bigger antenna, and this may be something as simple as just a piece of a few yards or several feet of cable, just stripping the end and wrapping it around, and that cable putting it around like a rooftop or over a tree. I mean, they sell some of these things, some of these cables that you can just throw over a tree, or but you can improvise those things yourself. Now, doing those things, you improve the reception quite a bit. Now, here I have something that I bought years ago, pretty cheap. This was back in the day. These are from Tesco. Tesco is like a supermarket brand of UK. Tesco. I bought this one, I think it was like for £3, something ridiculous like that. £2 or £3 back in the day a few years ago. Just right next to it, they have this one, the World Radio Tesco radio. And this was like, I don't know, like maybe £10. I want to say £10. So still pretty freaking affordable. But the big difference is this is shortwave radio. This is FM AM radio, your typical little tiny radio. This is shortwave radio. And let me just make this perfectly clear. Your FM radio is probably just fine, even for emergencies. And this is something that you see from government institutions all over the world, different countries, when a government is advising citizenship on being prepared. The typical thing, canned food. The stuff I was talking about with UK a few days ago. Having canned food, water, a flashlight, batteries, and radio, right? Typical thing. Why is it that they always mention radio? Because they expect to use radio if there is a large-scale event. So even with your basic FM radio, they will transmit crucial information during emergencies. It's not as if they will be, talking about the latest match of whatever, or just throwing some Taylor Swift out there while the world is burning. Anything that is up and still running, they will probably use it to retransmit crucial information to the population. Of course, you have the emergency frequencies, you have the weather, you have a bunch of things. But even with this kind of radio, there's a good chance that you will be able to listen to what's happening around you. And it was very interesting. I was just trying this one out because I had this in some kind of kit. The batteries had leaked. Unfortunately, they were not inside the radio, as you should never keep them. Always keep them outside. Even that way, you want to wrap it with something because they leaked even not being inside the radio. I'm using a little bit of tape, the one I mentioned before, the gaffer's tape. This should not like glue and mess up the battery. So little things that we keep on incorporating. But even turning it on for a few seconds, it was so interesting to, I learned something locally from where I am, right? And I was not even looking for it. But the thing is that unlike your internet, unlike your YouTube, you learn about what's happening around your local community, in your neighborhood, in your town, because that's what radio is, right? So especially FM radio, it's going to be, yes, music and local news. AM radio, kind of like the same thing. But with world radio, if you get a hang of it, knowing how to use it at night and which frequencies and so on, you can know what's happening, again, around the world. If there is a large-scale event by which even some of these local networks are not working, if there's something alive in the planet, you will know because shortwave radio will tell you that, okay? Now, this is the one I got in Tesco a few years ago. It's okay for what it is, right? Super cheap. There is, of course, there's levels to these things, right? This is okay. This is much better. I've done videos about this one before. The XH Data Model D808. This one, it will get a more clear signal. There's things that this one will not even pick up. This one will, and it will be kind of, you will understand what's being said, right? And maybe this one picks a signal, a frequency that you kind of listen to it. This one will pick it up, and it will be a lot more crisp and clear. So yes, nicer radios do a better job. It's even heavier. And this is going for like $80. I mean, you're not talking about having a $1,000 setup with a huge ass antenna. No, and the nice thing is you can take these things with you, all right? But this one is probably something that if you want to throw in something in a bag, it will be more like this. Now, this is the model that I received, I think it was yesterday, maybe a couple days ago. X-Data, tiny radio, $9-10, super affordable. It used to be that back in the day, this was very common. Shortwave was gonna be a little bit more expensive. Not anymore. You can pick up one of these for like $9-10. I'll leave links for some of these things in Amazon if you want to pick it up. There's also being sold in AliExpress or XD or some of these Chinese outlets. I would be a little bit wary of spending this kind of money in those things. If you're going to be spending $80 or so, I would buy it from Amazon, knowing that you can send it back if there's anything wrong. Some of these Chinese outlets, there are counterfeits and fakes. Yes, even though these are made in China, they still use the brand or even the exterior, and who knows what's on the inside, right? These ones, again, maybe in these Chinese AliExpress or these sort of thing, maybe like $7. So a couple bucks more, you buy from Amazon, a couple bucks saved. That's going to be entirely on you. You make what decision. I think that for these that are so affordable, I don't see many knockoffs of these being made, given how cheap they are already. And yes, it is the actual brand, and it's a recognized brand in the radio community. So, I mean, why even counterfeit it when it's so affordable already? I don't know, just decide on your own. But the nice thing about this one is super affordable. No, it's not going to be as nice as this one in terms of sound quality, but these ones use AA batteries. These ones use more of an internal lithium-ion battery. Well, you can change it, but it's one of these big batteries, right? One of these larger things that sometimes, yes, I have a bunch of these for flashlights and so on, but you cannot really turn it off. right? It always stays like on like this. So more expensive, better quality, maybe not what I would have in a bunch of kits, like my car kits, several bags for my family. Now this one, all day long, instead of buying your basic AM, FM, if I'm putting together something for kids, maybe this is something I'm happy with. It uses a couple of normal AA batteries, and you have something that you can listen to what's happening all over the planet, which is pretty cool. One final thing, keep in mind that with batteries, quality does matter as well. I recently got some of these Varta batteries. These are made in Germany, right? Usually batteries are the cheapest thing that you can find in like sold and made in China. I believe that Project Farm, the guy that does like different testings, he found out that the Amazon batteries are actually pretty good. So I was about to buy the Amazon ones, Amazon brand batteries, which seem to be a solid option, but I just went with these for a bit more money. Varta, made in Germany. Made in Germany, I don't know, call me old school, but I feel that these are better, and these are supposed to be anti-leak batteries, good for 10 years. And yeah, they make sure you understand that these are freaking made in Germany, all over the places. Made in Germany, made in Germany, and made in Germany, and the German flag. So yeah, super proud about their German-made batteries. But hey, 40 batteries, good for 10 years. Spend a little bit more money and have a bit of maybe peace of mind. I don't know, maybe the Amazon ones are just fine. I just rather go with these, especially for something that I'm stocking up, like a last resort emergency sort of thing, where I want to make sure that these batteries are maybe 8, even 10 years down the road still good or good enough, or at least better than if I had bought Chinese ones. I don't know. So guys, that's gonna be it. Just how we tweak and find out things of ways in which we can improve our setups and our kits and so on. If you want to learn more about all of this stuff, of course, as always, you have a channel full of information. Look up using the search function. You have my books, Street Survival Skills and Surviving the Economic Collapse, available in the links there below in Amazon. See you next time. Have an awesome weekend. Take care.